So let me throw a scenario at you, and maybe you've already dealt with it. I think that this is something that maybe the audience would appreciate you breaking down. But let's say that they own the property free and clear.
Seller, yeah.
They just
no longer called subject to, it's now called seller finance.
Right.
Right? Okay.
So it's they own it free and clear, but they want more than a wholesale price.
Guess what?
Yeah.
I'm doing a deal right now with a TTP alumni, Katie Fisher.
Love it.
Okay, so Katie calls me up. She says, hey, I've got this lady. It's actually on my board in the other office.
Yeah.
I wrote the whole thing down and she was telling me this whole story. So the seller, her name is Susan. She has 40 houses. She's getting close to her twilight years, and she's like, I'm going to start shelling these out.
Yep.
Right? But I want full price for them. And she owes them all free and clear.
Yeah.
So Katie's like, I watch your podcast. I've seen you on with Brent. I've seen you on with Steve Trang. I really need to know how to do this. I go, no problem. So I get on the phone with her. I break it all down. I go, this is how you pitch it to the seller. Seller wants 200 grand for a house that's worth right now as is 165. ARV is like 220.
Sure.
But she's like, I want 200 grand.
Yep.
So I go, Katie, no problem. Tell the seller that you'll pay 200 grand as long as she carries that note for 30 years at 0% interest. And the seller goes, there's no way I'm giving you 0% interest. So Katie calls me up. She goes, what do I do? What do I do? I go, just tack on $20,000 and then see if she'll do 20% or 0% interest. And she goes, she said that's fine. That's great.
So she goes 220.
Yep.
With a 30-year mortgage.
Right. 0% interest.
0% interest.
So every payment that's getting made to that seller is paying down the mortgage 100% every single month.
Paying down the principal.
So this is how that pitch goes. So let's say a seller goes, okay, well, I'm not going to give you a house with 0% interest. Well, Brent, you know, I'm not great at interest, and most people really aren't either. I don't want to like screw around with the interest thing. Why don't I just pay you an extra 20 grand, build the interest in, and then we just do a straight deal where it's 0% interest and doesn't confuse anybody. And the seller's like, yeah, that makes sense. But the reality is, if you charge me 3% interest over a 30-year period, you're going to take a $100,000 house, and I'm going to be paying $190,000 or $200,000 for that house. So a $220,000 purchase price at 0% interest is way better than a 160 house at 3% interest.
Love it.
So unbelievable deal. So of course, what does Katie do? Katie goes, I want to own my first subject to deal. The lady wants 5% down, so that's 10 grand. And I go, great, I'll buy the deal. And she goes, I don't want to sell the house to you. I know that I could make some money and wholesale it to you and make it, 10 grand. I want to be your partner. So actually what I did with Katie is Katie and I are partnering together, and her and I are going to split the deal.
Love it.
So she didn't have to come out of pocket. She got a deal done with a seller. And now what's really cool about that seller is she has another 39 properties that Katie has access to. So now, because you're solving the seller's problem, you're the one staying in the game. Keep coming back.
And they want that super price. They want to tell all their friends and all their family, I sold it
at
for
max
$220.
price.
Yes. At what the fix-up value is, and they still have to fix it up themselves. Now,
so if you saw the photos, it's rent ready. That's the thing. Is like right now it's rent ready. Somebody can move in. No repairs need to be done. Yeah. She had a tenant in there, so it just needs to be cleaned up. Has no carpet. Just clean it out, and a renter goes in there. So for us, we close escrow, 0% finance. Dude, are you kidding me? The cash flow on that deal. So our payment, I can't remember the payment's about $1,000 a month, I believe. The rent rate is like $1,550. So we're making $550 a month on cash flow. But the $1,000 a month on the mortgage is paying down our debt 100%. Right. Whereas if you and I went down to Bank of America and got a bank,
you're paying principal for 15 years.
85-90% of that money that we pay on a monthly basis is freaking interest. Holy shit.